Well, good afternoon and welcome to another live iThemes training event. My name is Nathan Ingram. I'm the host here at iThemes Training, and today I'm joined by Ben Rittner, the founder of Kadence. Ben's going to be talking to us about using Kadence for your WooCommerce store. Hey, Ben, welcome back to iThemes Training. How's it going for you today?
Good. I'm excited to be here, excited to share some things.
It's going to be a lot of fun. So give us a little bit of an overview about what we're going to cover today.
So I'm going to primarily try to give an overview of the different ways that Kadence and different products can help your WooCommerce site. So we're going to look at Kadence theme a little bit. We're going to look at Kadence Extras and Kadence conversions, just for some different ways to kind of optimize or build your product to be better converting, build your product sites to be better converting. So primarily going to be focusing on the product page today, and then definitely want to hear your questions. So we'll leave some time for that, and then I will just kind of give you an idea of right now. I've been heavily working on Kadence Extras, so we're going to talk about what's going to come with 2.0 version of that, which should release. Well, I'm not going to give a date yet, but soon.
Sometime soon. All right. So again, this is a live webinar. We're actually here. This is not recorded unless you're watching the replay, in which case it is recorded. But the great thing about a live webinar is that you get to ask your questions as we go. And to do that, we have our live chat room over at ithemes.com/chat, ithemes.com/chat. So if you want to ask a question, please do not use GoToWebinar to do that. Go over to our chat room at ithemes.com/chat. So it's helpful if you have a question to put the word question in all uppercase before you ask that. Just make sure it catches my attention so I can save your question in the list to give to Ben. And also, if you ask a question, I would please ask you to just watch the chat room for the next minute or two in case I need to ask you a follow-up question. That just makes sure we get good, clear, answerable questions when we come time to Q&A. So again, questions and anything goes in the chat room at ithemes.com/chat, not in GoToWebinar. There's no slides today. This is all live demo with Ben and the WooCommerce and Kadence. There is a replay that will be available. This is being recorded. I'm going to drop the replay link once again in the chat room. Give us about an hour after we wrap up today, and you'll be able to watch that recording or share it with somebody else. So one other thing, we are testing today a new live webinar transcription feature. So you'll see a link to that down below the chat room, just below the spot where you enter in your message. You'll see link to live webinar transcription. You can pop that open if you'd like and follow along with the live transcript. With that, Ben, I'll turn it over to you. Let's get started.
Sweet. Let me get that viewer out of the way. Okay. This is one of the starter template websites that we offer as part of Kadence starter templates. It's very pretty. Just real quick, if you wanted to rebuild what I'm doing today, you would just go into starter templates and you would choose this soap shop. And once you did, you could come in and start doing it and then import the full site. We don't need to do any of that right now. And so where I'm going to start is we're going to go into, I have some plugins installed. So let me just go ahead and show that page. Currently conversions is installed. Nothing's going on. I could deactivate it. Nothing's happening in it right now. I have Box Pro, which we may or may not even get to some of the things in that. And then I have Shop Kit, which also is all deactivated right now. So I'm going to kind of activate things in the settings as we go through. But Kadence Pro, this is the premium add-on for the Kadence theme. We're going to go right in there first because this is where you enable different settings. So I'm going to enable header add-ons. We're not going to play with conditional headers today or ultimate menu. We're going to mostly look at WooCommerce add-ons, and we'll leave the rest of this stuff for another day. So if I jump into the customize, like I said, I primarily want to focus on product pages, but when we're looking at different WooCommerce stuff, but it's important to talk about the header and especially this this header cart. So I jumped the navigation here just by clicking on it, which you can do, but that's header. And then you have all these options to add into your header. You have your builder down here, and then you have the cart. And inside here, you can choose what you want your header to look like, the icon, and if you want it to be a pop-out, which we do. And then there's this feature right here, show amount left in order to receive free shipping in cart pop-out. I'm going to enable this. This is a pro feature. This comes with the pro add-on for the Kadence theme. We're going to put the price at 25, and you can kind of see like this is how it's going to set up. And this little thing, we'll publish this, and the customizer is not going to let me do this very well. So we're going to switch tabs here. And I'll just show that in action. So you can see right here, we have review cart, and it tells me how much away I am. $21 away from free shipping with a little progress bar. This is a great way to get your customers just to spend a little bit more money on your shop, and then they get free shipping. And so you get a higher sale, plus they get that free shipping, which oftentimes for them feels really good. Like, man, they scored. So that's just a simple little feature and a way to increase sales. The next thing I want to talk through, not in the header, we're going to go into WooCommerce. And we've got some extra options once you enable the pro features. We've got the off-canvas sidebar. That's how you could put a filter in here. We're not going to, there's just so many things, so I'm trying to pick and choose. But one thing I did want to talk about is the add to cart. So I want to show the pop-out when a product is added to cart. So I'm going to publish that. This is really nice. If you watch now, if I click add to cart, this automatically pops out. It just creates just a really smooth experience for someone checking out your site, because they can quickly see, this is what I've got, this is how much I'm away. I can go back in and say, okay, maybe I want to buy something else. So that's a really nice feature. And then I'm going to open up the single product page, and we'll jump into some of the settings here. And we're primarily going to be looking at this product page. How can we improve it in different ways? And so this is kind of the standard that you get, which is pretty, I mean, there's nothing, unlovable about this, but there's a couple things we can do just to increase someone to press this add to cart. And one of the things we can do is actually make the button bigger, which is kind of a silly thing, but it is important. So if we come in to add to cart, just by choosing medium large, we get this nice big add to cart button that, for whatever reason, that's actually going to help your conversion rate. And I think it's important that we just talk about, like, button size is a big deal. There is some other things I want to look at here. I'm going to enable this. Giving people some quick, like, confidence builders in your store is huge. So in this case, what did we say? We're saying 25 is free shipping. And then we're giving them this guarantee, no hassle refunds, secure payments. Those are like the three big, buzz things. And when somebody's at your store, like, do they feel like they can get their money back and that it's secure? And so that, people are scared of being scammed for good reason. And you want to quickly alleviate any of those fears. And so adding this area, simple, and you can put whatever you want in here. You can change the text, and you even have some icon decisions as well. It's just a nice and easy way to kind of increase your site, just the way that people feel about it. Another one is to show payments. So, people get here and they go, what payments are available by just enabling this. And I think you can do design wise, if you're like, that's a little too flashy, you can give it a nice gray. This allows you to quickly show like, these are the payments that I accept. And so people aren't wondering like, oh, do they accept PayPal or not? And you can enable Apple Pay, for example, which just might be a little bit helpful when somebody's at your site. Oh, I can do Apple Pay. It's going to be quick and easy. So that's a great one. This is like, this is oftentimes this like added thing that WooCommerce outputs, like the category and the SKU. If it's not really helpful, like this is under soap, but I'm in a soap shop, so like we don't really need to know about soap category. And granted, you might want to show categories, and to be fair, a better place to show a category might be right up here, like right above the title, just as a way of like categorizing it. So if you're using categories, you might consider that versus having that little kind of drop at the bottom. And this is an interesting option. If, for example, you want this select box to drop below the label, there's times when that can make a lot of sense. I wanted to show the tabs. There's tabs on the side here or tabs centered. Those are just different style things you can do. Showing the weight and dimensions as an additional information tab. In this particular instance, there's no weight and dimensions added, so it's not really necessary, but it's a nice thing that you can turn that off if you want to, especially if you're doing shipping. You're going to add weight and dimensions, and then like no one really needs to see weight and dimensions for your shipping. And then you have related products. So the last thing that is interesting with this is enabling the sticky add to cart. This is another pro feature. And essentially what that does is allow someone to, if they're getting down into your content, to quickly get back. If you're on a variable product, meaning they have to choose certain things, they're going to see this select options and a scroll up to the add to cart. But it's just kind of a nice little feature, image, select options right up. On products where it's just add to cart, that button would be an add to cart. So we're going to leave that enabled to show in different places. You can have it show up at the bottom as well. Whoop. I've got too much CSS running here. We'll jump in and show this coming up on the bottom right there. And you can see it can be added to cart. So that's the main things in the customizer for kind of improving the conversions here. I want to jump in now and talk about some things that you can do in Kadence Woo Extras to kind of just improve this a little bit. One thing is that throughout the site right now, all of the products are square. And then because this image just happens to be this size, that's how WooCommerce outputs it. So we're going to start here in ShopKit, and we're going to go into Product Gallery and enable this. In here, I have the option to kind of define the width and the ratio of the image. So if I want square for that main product image, I can do that, and then I'm not left with whatever was uploaded. So in this instance where we're talking here now, I have this nice square image. It doesn't get so long. And with this, there are some options. I can add the zoom if you want, and you can put it in a window on top or beside. And I'll just show you what that looks like. Sometimes it's a little bit nicer to be able to do this, to kind of see what is it I'm looking at. Whereas when it's over the image, you kind of feel like you can get lost. So this is like just a really clean and easy way to kind of improve your product image. The next thing we're going to look at is variation swatches. So by default, variations are showed in a select box where you can just, in this case, we're choosing a size of soap. Probably don't ever choose a size of soap when it's like this, but I needed an example. So here, this is a great time to switch it to radio boxes, because now it's just really clean and easy to switch between and see what the pricing is. So this is how you set the default. If you go into the actual product itself, I can change this. So I could change it back to a drop down, or I could change it to like having color or an image, define what that is. Or I can just leave it on the default for the site. And the next thing we're going to look at is variation options. This is a tiny little thing, but right now you'll see on the product, you get this price range. And if you're selling stuff like the bottom one is 6 and the most expensive is like 600, showing a price range is probably not very helpful, because people are going to be like, 600, what in the world? And this isn't a great example, because 6 to 10 is probably fine. But by showing lowest price, you can say from. This just adds that little change. And basically, when people are looking at your prices, then they're not getting stuck on whatever the most expensive variation is. They're looking at, oh, okay, so it's $6. And if I want to go a bigger size, then it's going to be, more money. So it's a simple thing, but it's a nice little change. Add to cart text can be a nice little change, just adding a little bit of extra, people talk about cart. What if you just talked about a basket? Or changing the language a little bit. So now it's add to basket. It could be, buy. And if all you sell is soap, you could even say buy soap or whatever. It's just a way to add a little bit personal touch to the text and language. So it's an easy one. And in this one, like if all of my variable products are sizes, I can say select size instead of select options, just as an example. This is a big one, and I wanted to talk about reviews. So right now, the default way that you see reviews is you've got someone can leave your rating, and then they have a blurb of text. And, nothing about this is super easy to read or super exciting to read. And granted, obviously, this is placeholder text. So if it was real text, it'd be a little bit more interesting. But with Kadence ShopKit, you can enable advanced reviews. And this is one that I love and put on all the WooCommerce sites I do, because it just adds just a little bit more. And I want to show you the difference right here in that now they can add a title. And I will tell you that most people just read the review title. They're just looking for, okay, what is the summary of your summary? But it also has like a nice overview of like how many people have rated it a certain thing. And you just get a little bit different layout. You can now enable voting up. So it's not just based on when the review came in. You can sort views by what was most helpful for people to read. You can enable this ability to have just a few reviews show, and then you can click view more, which just creates a really nice like experience where you're not getting like scrolling. If you've got 20 reviews and people want to get to related products or whatever, it's going to take them an eternity scrolling down. This makes it nice and easy to just click and add more. So some of the features here, you can enable advanced reviews. You can select the order. So you can do newest or oldest first, or you can do what's most helpful, and then we'll fall back to newest first. You've got some consent. If you want that, you can do this. Shows for, you can choose how you want your reviews to show in terms of language. This is for enable voting. You can turn that off. You can add voters must be logged in. You can show the overview or not. You can set your highlight color. Enabled featured reviews. This is kind of fun. I can come in here and If I, if I'm the product owner and I'm looking at this and I'm saying, man, this is a really good review, I want to feature this review. Now, this one right here gets this little feature tag, and that just makes it stand out more. And so if it's a review you want your users to see, that alone is going to make them go, huh, wonder why this one has a little tag on it. So that's just a simple way to jump people to a specific review. And then enabling load more, and you can determine how many per load. So if you want to show like, 10 reviews and then have it add the load more, you can do that. And if you already have existing reviews, you can convert them. Of course, they won't have a title because the title option comes with advanced reviews. And I filled these out with advanced reviews on, then turned it off to kind of show you the difference. But that's just how that's set up. So that's advanced reviews. You manage them in a different place because what happens is they're actually not comments. They're saved as a custom post type. So they're all managed here. And you can approve them and unapprove them here. Am I going too fast? Am I going to?
I think you're right on speed. Let's keep going. It's great.
Nice. Okay. So that's reviews. Now I want to look at, adding more tabs here. So we're going to jump down here to global tabs and turn this on. What this does is under products now, I have this new product tabs, and essentially I can create a tab. I, in prep for this, just added a tab with some placeholder text, frequently asked questions. This could be anything you want. This could be about us. You could talk about your company. This could be how to use the product. And then you can apply it to every product, or you can apply it based on the category, and then you can choose a category or multiple categories. You can do it only for specific products, and you can say, I only want this to show on this lavender field soap. And then you can choose the priority. And so this will determine where the tab shows here. I have it only for specific and none chosen. Let me update that. So here you can see if I wanted to move this in, over here in front of reviews, leaving reviews at the end, I just need to change this priority. And I believe 15 is what we're looking for. Yep. So now I've set the order here. And I can put any content I want into this tab, which is great. So you can make for a lot more interesting tabs, and just quickly adding, like, maybe you have warranty information, or maybe you have information about shipping that you need to put on every product, but you don't want to have to manually enter that into like the description or something like that. You can drop it into a global tab, and then it'll get added. You can add as many of those as you want and apply them differently. That's a real nice feature here. We have obviously other tools in the shop kit, the checkout editor, affiliate product options. This allows you to change, like if you're running an affiliate website that's basically sending people to Amazon or something like that, you can change the links and how they work. Product brands is cool. And I would say like this shop is a good example of like people not thinking you would need a product brand, because like, let's say these are all handmade soaps, right? So the brand is this shop. Why would you put brand on it? Well, product brands can really be anything, because under it, you can define how you want the name to function, even the URL, and how you want to output this stuff. So let's say we wanted it to be like, like the notes for this, like how it smells, like, maybe, or like, almost like tasting notes. Like you could create product brands that you define that way, and then you show them on the product, or you could even add images. So we're just gonna quickly do this. We'll stick it here, and on the archive, we'll come back to this. I'm gonna leave it as brands or tasting notes. Well, tasting note. Okay, so now when I go into products, I've got my tasting notes I just created. And maybe it smells like pine. And oh. I don't know how to spell cocoa. Help me out. There we go. We'll just go with that. Now, in my product that we're playing with, I can now add these tasting notes. And then we'll refresh the page, maybe. And now I have this nice thing, tasting notes, chocolate and pine. So it's like an easy way to add some more information to the product page and then have it all linked and connected. Let's get back and look at how we can use this on the archives. We could say, show it below the title as text. And then now we have tasting notes. So kind of an interesting way to like just give a little bit more information about your product maybe, or maybe you want to have brands, or maybe you want to use it for other things. There's a lot you can do with it, and it doesn't have to be text. It can be images. So it's like a cool way to explore adding more information to increase just like what your customers are seeing and how they're taking your information in. Okay. Next thing I want to look at on this product page is what we could do. So right now it jumps right into related products after description. And you know, I think it might be interesting to add a little section here for let's, why shop from us or something like that. Or, there could be a number of ways you can do it. For this, we're going to look at elements. And I started to do this and didn't finish it. This is just some pre-built content from the design library. And so here you might say like, we give back and all natural ingredients and things like that, things that might encourage someone to buy. So let's just say, get into the block settings here. And let's go 60. And then here, I'm going to drop this. So pretty simple section. Maybe we should add a background to the whole thing. For that, I am going to another row layout. Oops. Okay. We'll ignore the colors for a second and just talk about how we can add this. So let's say we wanted to add this to our product page and we want to stick it right after the description and before related products. So we have this nice big section. Of course, the colors don't all match, but we're going to go with it. If I go into my element settings here under placement, I'm looking at single product tabs. That's the area I want to place this in. And then under the priority, I've got it set to 10. You can set it to the entire site because frankly, that is defining where it's going to be. So, but if you're, want to just make sure single products, or let's say I only wanted this on a specific one, or maybe I want it on a group, let's say based on category and soap. I could put that here. So you could see like how this could be how we create our soap section. And now it's only applying to the soaps. And I'm going to show this to all users. So when I publish this, cross your fingers. Now we've got this why buy from us. And I can see probably need to add a little bit of margin down here. So, there's some things like to clean up. But it's a nice way to add in some content to your product page that you can control and you can add to multiple places at once. So it can really make for just a lot more interesting product pages that don't get stuck in the description, but actually start building out this page how you want. Curious. If I set this to, should be wide. Oh, that goes beyond. I need to make an option for that. This full width's going to take it all the way to the edge of the screen. So there should be an option to go to contained width. That's something I'll have to think about adding. But yeah. So I could do a negative margin here, but it might be a setting I just look at adding. Anyway, I think this could be an area where you could take it right to that edge design-wise. But this is a simple way to just increase what you're doing on your product page. Where are we at? I want to leave some time for questions, so I'm going to jump into the last thing I was going to talk about, which is conversions. I've got some examples here. Again, we're primarily looking at this product page. How do we make this more interesting and function better? One, it'd be to add a product banner to your website. This doesn't necessarily relate to the exact product page, but it's a simple way to grab people's attention to something new you're doing. And so for this example, my launch trigger is on load. This is a banner. I'm not going to go through all the conversion settings. We did a thing on how conversions work, but essentially when I publish this, now right at the top of my page here, I have this nice banner that says like, hey, check this out. It's a way to get people's attention and get them onto a specific product that you might be wanting to promote. Maybe you're doing a sale. This is a great way to do that. Good attention grabbing option. The next is product exit intent. So let's just say I'm on the product page and I'm looking at it, and then I decide I want to leave. You know, one thing you might do is throw up something, and it takes something bold like this to capture people's attention on an exit intent. If you do something small, they'll probably miss it. But this is a good one where I'm essentially saying, launch this on exit intent. And so when I'm on this page, on my product pages, if I take my mouse up and out, it just pops up and immediately says, hey, hold on, do you want to get 10% off? Or maybe you give them a different offer, buy one, get one free or whatever. Just a quick and easy way to grab somebody's attention and get them to stay on your website or get them to go over that purchase thing. So it's a nice option. And with this, I have it set to target single products. So I'm really like, you know, this is something where you're really talking to someone who's on the product page and they didn't decide to purchase. And so you can grab them. You can even say like, I want this to only show on the checkout page or the cart page, and only want it to show if there's a certain amount in the cart and things like that. And then the last conversion I want to talk about is the product upsell. And so this one, essentially, I want to offer the customer who just purchased a soap to get this nice dry brush kit. And I'm going to give them a special offer on it because I've got a ton of them and I want to get rid of it. So I'm going to say, you know, and maybe we make that $19.99 because, you know, that's just how it goes. And you can get it for $5. It's a special thing. Do it now. My launch trigger, this is interesting. It's on load, but I'm actually going to only target people's carts. And so I'm only going to target it if a certain product is added to the cart, and I can select multiple products here. Right now I'm looking at my pine soap. And I want to hide it if they've actually added this to the cart. I don't want to show them the offer if they went ahead and added it. And I made this add to cart or add to basket button to actually add the product right to the cart and take them right to the cart. So I publish this. Now on my pine soap page, I'm going to add this. And when I do, well, I get my cart and I get my special offer. Probably should have this stick above that, which I think I can fix. You can tell I haven't tested this. But anyway, here's my special offer. This should be above that cart output, and I can fix that. But add to basket. Now, right after they added the product to cart, this shows up, which is super cool. So then if they add it to basket, that takes them right to the cart. And now they've got their brush kit and their soap added into the basket. And also, they're only $4 away from free shipping. So kind of some cool ways to edit that. And I wanted to see where my Z-index settings are. Somewhere. Maybe I don't have Z-index settings. I should know my own products better. Well, in this case, I need to add Z-index settings because I don't seem to have any. But I need to change, basically, I need to be able to control which item is on top of the other one when the cart's out. For now, I would add a class to it and use the class. But I'm going to push an update out for conversions to add Z-index options. So that conversion works. So there's my 3 conversions that essentially, can bring a lot to your product, as well as using an element to essentially add more interesting things to your product, as well as using a global tab and advanced reviews and setting up with variation swatches and a new gallery, larger image, and product guarantees right in the face of the user when they're at that critical buying decision. We also talked about tasting notes and using product brands for more interesting things and setting the price on variable products from a range to a start price. So yeah, I think we're at time for questions. 15 minutes left. I think I did that just about perfectly.
Good stuff. Yeah, we have a lot of questions, so we may need to do like lightning round from the beginning here. Let me turn my camera on. Yeah, so I probably have 24 questions here. So you ready? Take a deep breath.
Okay, let's do it.
All right. So first question from Chris. In regard to all the Kadence starter sites out there, and there's some really great design out there and some really great e-commerce design. Chris is asking, if I import the starter WooCommerce site into an existing site, is it going to overwrite my existing site or create duplicate pages? How does that work?
Ideally, don't do that. So you can, and it will create new pages. It won't override your existing pages. It will create new ones, but all of the way that WordPress imports content, it's all based on IDs. And so when you have existing IDs, it throws off stuff. So when you do that, most likely images are going to be out of whack. You're going to have certain images that should be a background that aren't. Ideally, don't import a whole starter template onto an existing site. If you want that design, we have some different ways for you to do that. You can go into the design library. I'm still showing my screen. Yep. I can add a new page here, and let's say I want I'm going to starter packs. I want to look at the soap shop, and I want to grab the contact page for the soap shop. I can add it, and I'm there. And I don't have to go through this whole big process of creating more content, especially because most of the starter place templates have like blog posts that you don't need and things like that. So if you're looking to add just a page, you can do that right through the design library, and that will do it. Sailor, I think, is working on a nutrition course right now. Should probably clear that. So does that answer that question?
Very good. Yeah. Let's see. Next up is, lost my place, Tanya. So when you were showing the exit intent a minute ago, what actually triggers exit intent?
When the mouse leaves the window. So when it goes, typically when it's going up towards the navigation bar, whether that's to close a tab or, but if you're looking at my screen right now, it happens right here. When I leave, this is the body of the page, and this is the actual browser interface. And it's when I leave the body of the page with a mouse. So the thing with exit intent is it is not going to work with like an iPad or a phone. It's not designed that way.
Right. And in this particular case, she was asking, maybe you're going to click the back button to just go back a page. It's still going to trigger exit intent, right?
Correct. It is. Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep. Because there's no way to know that. The only way you can track what's happening with the mouse is what's going on in this interface. The website can't track what happens to the mouse when it leaves, just knows that it does leave. So it's not perfect, but it can be very useful.
For sure. Okay, several questions related to ShopKit. And just to clarify, ShopKit is the new name for Kadence Woo Extras, right?
Correct, yes. We're just trying to make the name a little bit more streamlined.
Yeah, so you'll see the ShopKit is downloadable in your members area if you're an iThemes member or a Kadence member as Kadence Woo Extras, right?
Oh, really? That should be updated. Okay.
I know that is the case. I know in the iThemes library, but no, it's Kadence ShopKit in the iThemes library, and I think folks have, or maybe it shows up in the plugin list. There's some confusion about it in the chat, so we probably need
Yeah,
to give
for
that a quick look.
sure. I would say confusion for sure. And we're working on a whole new landing page for ShopKit that's going to help alleviate that. Talk about some of the things that it does a little bit better.
Perfect.
Especially, I mean, I didn't even end with like 2.0 is getting close. It's got just real briefly, 2.0 is going to have a brand new interface for all of this, as well as in the gallery, you'll be able to do images based on variation. So you could have totally different gallery images based on which variation is selected. It's a common request, and that's coming very, very soon. Another thing with the gallery, you'll be able to choose the gallery type based on screen size. So if you want to have thumbnails on the side on desktop, but under on mobile, you'll be able to do that. That's being worked on. There's some things with swatches where you can assign them. Right now you're basically setting a default, or you're setting them in the product itself. We're looking at being able to set it based on categories. So you can say, I want radio buttons, boxes for all my soap on this particular site, and maybe I have a different product that I don't want to target that with. And then ShopKit is going to have a template builder for WooCommerce, so you'll be able to build custom templates using Gutenberg to create like product pages and archives and stuff like that.
Very good. And just to clarify, the Kadence ShopKit is you can use that with any theme, right? That's not Kadence specific.
It's not Kadence specific. No, yeah, you can use it with any theme.
All right. Jenny's question, several questions related to the reviews option in ShopKit. Can you add the reviews option retrospectively? What happens to existing WooCommerce reviews? And Richard has an addition. If you have reviews that are left through other plugins, is there a way to convert those or import those?
It depends on which other plugins you've got reviews from for converting them. But once you enable, you can run through this convert previous reviews to advanced reviews. Essentially, if this is this is standard, because what happens is 2 reviews are then created every time. The standard WooCommerce one and then the advanced one. And so the standard WooCommerce one always lives on your site. And if you turn off advanced reviews, which I'm going to just do here to show you, and we go into our product, the reviews still exist even though they were converted to advanced reviews. And if somebody adds a review with it off or with it on, you can always convert it later. So you can convert without feeling like you are at risk of losing any reviews, because it won't delete any reviews on your website. It's only going to convert what's there over into the advanced reviews.
Gotcha. Let's see. Tanya has a question related to the product detail tabs. Is there a way to make those into an accordion?
Not currently. It's something I'm looking at making an option with the Gutenberg template builder. Like, you'll be able to add tabs in a block form when you're building out the template, and then say, do I want these tabs to be an accordion or tabs? Part of it is like, yeah, maybe it could be a theme option too down the road. I have to think about that. Where they come out on the page is kind of tricky, and doing a lot of this in a theme can break so many plugins. But yeah, I think it's an option I'm definitely looking at as part of the template builder.
Excellent. And for those tabs, Lee had a request/suggestion. Is there a way to, or actually related to the FAQ example that you showed, to make those conform to Google FAQ schema?
Well, we have a block for that. So if you're, let me just real quick, if we jump into products, product tabs, and this example, I can put any content I want in here. And so if I want to put a Kadence accordion, I can style this however I want. And the accordion has this enable FAQ schema. So if you enable this, then essentially the title becomes your question, and whatever content you put in here is the answer. And that schema is going to be loaded on the page. So it doesn't matter what this tab title is or anything like that. You can stick an accordion and you can turn on schema anywhere on your website.
Very cool. I see a lot of questions are still popping in the chat room. Folks, I believe we're going to be full for questions today. I still have probably 18, 20 questions to go here. So I think we're full on questions. We'll have more, at least one Kadence webinar each month going forward. Let's see. There's been some requests about ability to update product design more fully. Have more control over how, to fully customize a WooCommerce product page as well as category page. And I know some of that's related to the way WooCommerce is or is not playing well with the block editor these days. Can you talk a little bit about what the future holds for being able to completely control the way these product pages are designed?
Yeah, I'm still surprised that WooCommerce hasn't put this on their roadmap yet, but they have not gone forward to develop basically all the blocks that create this product page and then allow you to kind of do whatever you want with it. So that's what Woo Extras is 2.0 is going to have. It's going to have the ability using blocks to add the product title, the product review, snippet, the product short description, the add to cart area. You'll basically get all of this in a block that you can put on the page however you want using Gutenberg.
Yeah.
So yeah, you'll be able to control all of it fully, including like the shop page and the category archives and things like that.
Let's see. Mooger had a question. You showed earlier about the priority index numbers to change the tab order. Is there some documentation on that someplace?
WooCommerce has it, yeah, but it's probably hidden in their huge documentation folder. Good point. I'm writing down right now that in the description, I should say what the defaults are. Like the description tab is at 10 and the next one is at 20. So I will add a description to that setting.
Very good.
That tells what the defaults are.
Let's see. Manuela's question is, does Kadence integrate with Easy Digital Downloads? Is there any planning towards that?
No. It's not a rub on Easy Digital Downloads. It's just not been a priority based on everything else that we're doing. We have to basically say yes to some things and no to others, and it's one week. For now, I'm not saying it's no forever, but for now, we're not doing it.
Gotcha. Leonardo had a question about the when the cart is in the state. I think it's there now, where you click on it and it drops down the cart contents. Is there a way to add a quantity button in any of the mini cart views like that?
So this is the WooCommerce mini cart, and Kadence isn't overriding it to add that additional functionality as well as the JavaScript that would be needed to update the actual cart. Like I know Elementor does that, and there's some plugins that does that. It may be something we look at as like an option to kind of navigate away from the default mini cart that WooCommerce creates for that. But right now we don't have that option.
Gotcha. Let's see. Bunch of questions came in relating to filters on the product category pages. Just is there a quick answer to, do you have a recommendation on a good sidebar filter? And I think this would be a great webinar for the future, similar to this, but talking more about the product archive category pages. Do you recommend anything for filtering on the category pages?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on how you've got your product set up. If you've got them set up where attributes can be a real filter, then like that's a good option. And WooCommerce even has built-in options for all of that, like for filtering by attribute. And then there's also a lot of free plugins that will do like Ajax filtering and things like that. The filter option in Kadence allows you to create a sidebar where you can put anything you want into it. So I would say the theme has taken the stance of not being like offering a specific tool instead of offering you can use any tool. Let me just enable that so that's at least shown. So that's what that looks like. This little button opens up here. You can put whatever you want in here. So WooCommerce has built-in widgets that you can category, attribute, all that kind of stuff that you could put in here. If you've got a really big shop, then you kind of need to think through how you want to filter and what tools you want to use in terms of like, if I'm going to filter by attribute and go through every single product and make sure that the attributes all kind of line up.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see. Okay, this is a question we get frequently. Marin has this issue, which a lot of folks have. If all of your product images aren't pre-designed to the same, aspect, there may be some are landscape and some are portrait, and that they all it really makes a mess out of the a grid on category pages. Do you have any recommendation to deal with that?
If you don't want to crop the image, like if it's really important that all of the image is shown, there's some CSS where you can essentially create a box and then say image can be contained inside this box. So that's definitely an option. I don't have a setting for that because the box size, you need to have a setting for the box size, but message support, and I'd be happy to write you that CSS. It's like 3 lines, and essentially what you do is you say, I'm going to create a white box that is, maybe it's square or whatever, and then the image inside of that, I want it to be contained. So that way, and in the center, so if it's very horizontal, it'll show like here, and if it's very vertical, it would show in the middle.
Very cool.
Not perfect, but it is an option.
Yeah, that's a common issue in WooCommerce stores. That sounds like a really great Kadence blog post or help article to me.
Yeah, maybe even a setting. Maybe there's a good way to say, here's which ratio do you want to be, and then do you want your image contained or cropped, would be a way to solve that.
That would be delightful. Like I personally would love that. Yeah. So yes, there are winky face emojis in the chat room asking for that. So, all right. Let's see. Bryce has a question about the e-commerce templates that are available in Kadence starter sites. Is it better to use the newer ones, or are the older ones still okay? Or is there a big technical difference between some of those starter templates?
They're just designs. I mean, it's just design. You could start with one, and if you wanted to manually change styling and do everything else, you can. Like, there's nothing about the newer ones technically from a technical standpoint. It's just like, which design do you like? Because in the end, it's just design. That's all the starter templates are.
All right. One more question from Karis. Is there any plan to add video on the product gallery?
Yeah. So right now you can actually add video. It's kind of a secret. But it needs to be like a video hosted somewhere else. And essentially what happens is it creates a video icon over the image, and then the light box, if you click it, it opens the video in a light box. So one, that's better for loading, and in what needs to be added to that, and something I'm working on, is the ability to host your own videos and essentially have that same thing. But that is coming, and we don't have really time to get into it, but it is there. You need to just go to the image gallery, and then if you look at the metadata on the image, you can set a gallery. You can set an image video link, and if you link to a YouTube or different video sites, it'll show up in a pop-up.
Very good. Okay, we need to start wrapping up here. So let me ask you this question, Ben. What can you tell us about, for everybody that hung on to the end here, what can you tell us about that you're working on for Kadence in upcoming versions?
Okay. So I already mentioned the template builder for WooCommerce. That's big, and there's a lot of stuff going into that. I'm also working on a lot of stuff for full site editing in terms of like, how is Kadence going to enable this? again, not something I'm going to recommend anyone do, but it needs to be done. It's work that needs to be done. The other big one is Kadence blocks, which will be, I'm working on a major release for Kadence blocks. And one of the big targets in that is the row layout block. Probably the most useful, most used block is getting a total rewrite. And it's going to function in a way where sections inside of it work as a grid. So you could create a 3-column layout, but have 6 sections inside. The sections are going to be able to move around very easily, drag in and out, including even dragging off into the editor. So that row layout block, complete rewrite is something I'm very, very excited about. But we've also got a lot of smaller blocks coming and new starter templates. I've seen 6 new designs in the works. So so much always happening with Kadence.
Very exciting. Ben, thanks. This has been great. I've picked up a few things and lots of great questions and answers here as well. Any final thoughts as we're wrapping up?
No. Yeah, I'm sorry we didn't get to all the questions. But, I see even in the thing, people want white label. Yes, I know white label. Yeah, I would expect there to be version 1 of white label by the end of the month. It's one that not a lot of people want, but the people that want it really, really want it. So it's hard. We've had to move other projects in front of it because, again, you might think a lot of people want it, but they don't. It's very, very select few people that want that. But we're going to do it because, yeah, it's coming.
Excellent. And just one more mention, Kathy Zant from the Kadence team is there in the chat room and just reminded us of the new Kadence podcast that is there at kadencewp.com/podcast. Any thoughts on that, Ben?
Yeah, so far it's been fun. I mean, don't hate us. We're working it out. We'll get the kinks and all of it figured out. And yeah, episode 10 will be really hitting our stride.
There you go. All right. Well, thanks again, Ben. This has been great. Thank you all for good questions and answers throughout as well. That's going to do it for us today. If you're an iThemes member, I'm back for office hours tomorrow at 1 p.m. Central, and I'll see you back here on iThemes Training where we go further together.